You had mentioned reflection, and I want to go back to that just a moment because I think reflection of feeling and reflection of meaning are such great skills that not only can we use in conversation with our peers, but parents can use with kids just for clarity. Like, hey, I don't know if you'd say it this way to a 4-year-old, but hey, what I heard you say is, will you teach some parents listening about reflection of feeling and reflection of meaning after they attend to their kids and what they're going through?
Yes. I mean, I think it's really like marriage counseling 101, I mean, or anything like that, where I have been astounded the amount of times I have sat with people and someone said back, well, what I hear you saying is blank. And it makes such a difference. It settles that person who's having feelings reflected back to them. And so to say to a kid, I mean, you're right, a 4-year-old, that might be a lot, but to say, I can tell you're feeling frustrated, or it sounds like you're sad about that right now. Or even like you're saying about meaning, I can tell this is really important to you. I know that you really want to have a Coke at 10 p.m., or what, and I hear you, and I get that that's frustrating, and I can't wait to get to share a Coke with you at 2 tomorrow afternoon, or, I mean, that's a silly example, but basically, yes, reflecting, feeling, and meaning back.
How do we unintentionally gaslight each other then? I think about this in context. I had this experience last week. I'm walking through something right now, and I was sharing just an honest feeling, whether or not it had a lot of legs to it. I was sharing something with someone, and they said, well, that didn't happen. And I'm like, wait. I said, can I coach you on something? Let me tell you what you just did. You gaslit me.
Good for you.
You know what that means? No. So I shared what that meant. I said, listen, here's all I need you to say is, I'm so sorry. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. If parents, because parenting is hard work, so obviously parents get exasperated with their kids.
Yes.
And all of that. How do parents not unintentionally gaslight their little kids and hold space for them to say, tell me more about that? And listen, I don't have a lot of space to talk about this because I'm not a parent, but I am thinking about these things where exasperation may come into play. It does come into play. So I don't want to negate that at all, but how can parents just pause for a minute to say, oh, wait. Tell me more about that without going right to exasperation, because then I think this can quell sort of the anxiety.
Yes,
I could be way off in what I just said, by the way.
No, I don't think you are at all.
All
and
right.
I think that exasperation is there for so many parents. I think just a sense of timing. You're rushing out the door to get to school, and they're having all these big feelings, and it doesn't feel like this is the moment to do that. It can feel like, I just don't want you to be sad. And so I'm going to change the subject or jump to something different. And yes, I think when we can make it a habit of sitting with and saying back to them, reflecting back that emotion where we feel like their hearts are, even if we just stop and turn and look them in the eyes and do it for 10 seconds, I can tell you feel really frustrated. And we're still going to have to get to school. I would love to talk to you more about that later.
That's good. That's putting a pin in it.
And then you keep moving. Yes, exactly. Because I do think I think there are times it's just hard to do. And there are certain kids that have a lot of big feelings. But now one thing I would say that I talk with parents a lot about is I see a lot of combinations of kids with really big feelings and parents who don't really go there very often, who want things to be fun and upbeat, and I want to enjoy each other. Are you an Enneagram person at all, Christopher?
1 wing 2, self-pres, and I'm a self-pres 1. Yeah, hardcore.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Well, I feel like I see this with a lot of kids who are leaning towards 4.
Oh, that makes sense.
So
yeah,
have a lot of emotion, linger there for a long time.
Yep.
If you're not an Enneagram person and you're listening, these are the most creative kids, and really they just have big feelings about everything. And I would say parents who struggle with this the most are probably 7s or 1s. And I'm a 1 too, by the way.
You really?
Of course we're friends, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. That makes sense.
Yes, and I think there's the sense of like, we've got to keep moving. There's not time for this. Or a 7, again, who's wanting things to be fun. And so what I will say to those parents is, I want you to sit until you feel uncomfortable in the emotion. And I mean, I think as a perfectionist, someone and someone who wants even emotion to be productive, when I'm sitting with a kid who's just a mess and they don't care to work through that, which obviously is a lot of kids, you know, I think until they're going to feel heard, I don't really feel like they're going to work through it. And so this is a terrible thing about me, Christopher. I'm totally telling on myself. I have a clock really close to the person's face that I'm counseling, and I will make myself sit and just reflect back for 20 to 30 minutes. And internally, I'm thinking, we've got to move on. You've got to get some resolve in this. We got to get some resolution. But I know for that child, they need to sit in their feelings longer than I do. And so I think in that, we want to be a good student of the kids, of the people that we love, to know how to respond.
Big question then. How do we become more emotionally intelligent to even have the awareness to do what you did? I'll use a personal example. You said, as a one, it's just like we have to keep moving on. Well, in my own recovery and after I lost my mom and my own stuff, there's a lot of trauma recovery necessary. What I discovered is something in my soul, as a little boy, said, we have no time to grieve. We just have to keep moving forward. And now, as an adult, I'm looking back going, oh my gosh, no wonder my soul is just bursting in tears because, so to speak, because in a way I moved too quickly through grief.
Yes.
And I just find it fascinating that the three styles you mentioned, 1, 4, and 7, for us as ones, our path to disintegration is to the shadow side of a 4.
Right.
And that's where we just become reclusive and So emotional intelligence. Yeah, what does it require? How do we do that so that we can have these helpful conversations and be willing to sit in it without moving too quickly through it or providing these plastic explanations for life?
Yes. Well, I mean, certainly I would say going to counseling yourself is a great way to develop, and to understand more about your past because it certainly impacts our present. And another really easy, practical thing to do, I think, is just to journal. I mean, I would say, well, two things. Yeah, journal. And then if you can journal about this is great. But this is an even easier attempt to understand. I mean, I lay in bed often at night and I think, why do I feel kind of off? Or why have I felt angry today?
Wow.
And I will make myself get to 3 different feelings I felt that day besides however it's presenting. Because I think that helps me see and understand there's more to it than just the emotion I go towards sometimes. And, ideally, I would love to wake up and journal about that the next morning. I don't always make the time to do it, but I think that's even, we have parents pass feelings charts around the dinner table. That's something we can do too, is just naming and identifying our feelings.